everyone. Welcome to another workshop facilitated by Mind Tribe. Today's workshop is on taming your anxiety, which will be presented by Sanjana Kumar. I am Solanki Paul. I am a trainee psychologist, and your host will be Sanjana, and she will be taking you forward with this workshop. And we hope that we have a good interactive session today. But before we begin, there are some ground rules that I have given in the chat box. I would like to go through them again. Like throughout the meeting, keep your cameras and mics off. And if you have any doubt, please raise your hand. And when called your name, open your mic, and also kindly maintain the decorum. And you can use the chat box also for any kind of interaction. Also, we have Mello from Mind Tribe who will be here to record the entire session. Thank you. Over to you, Sanjana.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sanjana Kumar. I'm a psychologist here at Mind Tribe, and my area of expertise is in attachment style, relationship, anxiety, and depression. I hope we have an interactive workshop today. So, just for your information, this is going to be recorded, but it's just going to be the presentation and the audio part. So, nothing else is going to come in. All right, so Mello, can we start recording? All right. So, our today's topic is coping with anxiety. But just before we begin, would any of you like to share your experience with anxiety, or can you guys just describe when was the last time you felt anxious? Yes, sweetie. You guys can raise your hand or put it in the chat box. Yes, I can see your hand raised. Viti, would you like to go ahead? Yes, Adhyasha.
Hi Sanjana. So anxiety is very, it can be described in a few words, but to say how it was, I mean, I had a panic attack just 2 days ago, and it was worse. I had a lot of anxiety piling up inside due to something that had happened at home. So it is a suffocating feeling in your chest. It feels tight, and that tightness doesn't go away even after you try some of the exercises that, like breathing exercises, for example. That is a lot of anxiety there, and there is headache, there is sweating, there's trembling, tremors, there's goosebumps, and it can make you overthink. It can put many questions in your mind. It drives you insane with stress and fear of some impending doom that might just not happen at all, but it happens in our mind. It is very terrible. It's a very terrible feeling, but yeah.
Right, right. I can understand this can be a very challenging thing to deal with. I'm sorry to hear that you went through that, and thanks for sharing with all of us. I can see other responses in chat as well. Anxiety, a simple word, is worrying. Then we have someone say, I have constant anxiety, affects my appetite and health as well. That is very common. It feels heavy all the time in my chest. I ponder a lot all the time. Then we have another response. Anxiety is more than just negative thought, it's a feeling that there are a lot of things which need to be fixed and sorted out in this only moments, things which have not yet happened yet. Absolutely. This is so true. And then we have another share, I'm also in depression. Yeah, that can get challenging if you have anxiety and depression together. Like feeling hyper vigilant, alert, anxious state all the time, and it's exhausting. Absolutely. Thank you everyone for sharing. So, just before we begin, we need to mention a few things. So, this presentation is an IPR of Mindtribe. This presentation is copyrighted by Mindtribe, so you're not permitted to record this presentation, and nor are you permitted to take any photographs or screenshot of any slides. So now we'll look at how you can identify your anxiety. So we'll go through certain points, and what you can do is you guys can maybe like calculate your score at the end. Just keep a tab of how much you're scoring on each dimension, and then we will reveal the results at the end. So we'll first learn to identify your anxiety. So first is, how often have you been bothered by feeling nervous, anxious, on edge? So, how much have you been feeling a lot nervous or anxious, or constantly like feeling you're on edge, something bad will happen? And you have to rate it. 0 is rarely, 1 is sometimes, 2 is often, and 3 is very often. So, you can rate yourself accordingly and just keep a score of that. So, that is the first one. Second is, how often have you been bothered by not being able to stop or control your worrying? So, has it been difficult for you to stop or control your worry, the thoughts that are coming up in your mind, and you just keep thinking and thinking and thinking? So, you can rate yourself again 0, 1, or 2. So, that is some. Yes, Samit. Okay. Next, we have, how often have you been bothered by becoming easily annoyed or irritable? So, irritability and annoyance are also symptoms of anxiety. Oftentimes, when we feel a lot irritable or annoyed, usually there is underlying anxiety. So, you can score yourself. So, now we will move forward. I hope you all got your scores from this slide. Next is fourth. How often have you been bothered by being so restless that it is hard to sit still? So, how often have you been extremely restless and it was difficult for you to manage it or even sit still in that moment? Again, you can rate yourself. 0 is rarely, 1 is sometimes, 2 is often, and 3 is very often. Then after that, we have the fifth one. How often have you been bothered by having trouble relaxing? So if you have trouble relaxing, has it been bothering you a lot? So that is something you need to keep in mind while scoring this. And next is, how often have you been worried about things like your health, weight, how you look, difficulties with a partner, and financial problems, or something bad that has happened recently? So, are there any of these things that have been on your mind and are like constantly getting you worried? So, again, you can score yourself on that. So, we'll move on further. I hope everyone has all your scores, and you guys can just calculate at the end. Like, just keep calculating as you have your scores come up. Okay, now point number 7. How often have you been bothered by feeling afraid as if something awful might happen? So it happens in anxiety that you think that the worst case scenario will come true, or only the negative things that are possible in the future are going to come true. So just see if that comes up. Yes, Niranjana.
Can you please go back to the first slide?
First slide, this one or before that?
The one consisting of the first question.
Okay, first question.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, so coming back to this, so point number 7, we have already discussed this. Then point number 8, does worry or anxiety make you feel fatigued or worn out? This is very common in anxiety. When anxiety is too much, we might start feeling a bit worn out or tired or things like that. Then, does worry or anxiety interfere with falling or staying asleep? So, does it cause any sleep disturbance? Again, you can rate yourself if you have that thing come up. Then next is, does worry or anxiety interfere with your ability to work at workplace? And if not workplace, maybe academics or anywhere. Does it cause any functional impairment? So that is something that can come up. Um, I think that is it. You guys can post your scores here. Okay, someone is saying the previous slide. I've put it over here. Till then, you guys can share what your total score has been in the chat, or if someone wants to. Yes, Samit. Okay, 25, 23, 19, 10, 12, all right, 15, 12, 30, 14, 22, 16, 14. All right, so we have a range of scores over here, 29, 28, 24. All right, guys, thanks for sharing. And I will show you guys what the results are. 6, okay, that's good. So if it is between 0 to 7, it is very mild anxiety. 8 to 16 is moderate anxiety, and 17 to 30 is severe anxiety. So we have all got your scores, and you can see where you guys stand on the scale. So that is it for the scoring part. And apart from that, we will learn some of the things which have been mentioned here. We will define anxiety, then identifying symptoms, the myths, how anxiety helped primitive humans, factors causing anxiety, then the fight, flight, freeze response, then the vicious cycle of anxiety. So first is like anxiety. So anxiety is your body's natural response to stress. It's a feeling of fear, of apprehension about what is to come. Yeah, okay, we'll be moving on to solutions further when we move on further. So, okay, 11 means moderate anxiety, Anmol. Okay, so a little bit of anxiety is natural if we are faced with any kind of certainty and all, but problem becomes when anxiety actually becomes very excessive, and then we just keep overthinking and ruminating about things again and again, or we are like preoccupied with what is the worst case scenario or things like that. That's when anxiety becomes problematic. It is like personal, some anxiety is normal, but if it becomes too much, that becomes problematic. It is common throughout lifespan, so a little bit of anxiety is common, but the problem is only if it is excessive. And next we move on to some of the symptoms of anxiety. So we have dizziness or shake, trembling. So these are basically the things that are somatic in nature, that can come up as bodily symptoms. So at times you can have dizziness, shaking or trembling, then racing heartbeat, as someone like just described. Like at times there can be panic attacks and things like that. fast breathing, that is very normal. You can at times have muscle tension, so your muscles can become very tight and tensed. Sleeplessness, this is something we have already discussed before, so you can have trouble sleeping at times due to anxiety because you're just staying awake and overthinking again and again. Then trouble focusing, you can have concentration issues when you're very anxious. Then you have loss of energy. This is also something we had talked about before. If anxiety is very excessive, then energy starts becoming very low and it can lead to sweating. Yes, Adyasha.
Yeah, I have a doubt. Sometimes when I have a lot of anxiety, like a lot, and it can even be a panic attack happening, I immediately feel drowsy and I fall asleep for an hour or so. And like after when I wake up, it's a little better, like that. It happens a lot, so I'm just confused.
Right, right. At times it can happen, like with anxiety, like it can shift. It depends on what was happening during that time when this comes up, and I'll like definitely explore more. There are like certain things you can do to manage it better, and we'll definitely explore a little bit more on those things. So next is stomach ache at times and at times diarrhea. So these are like just the some of the symptoms. There are definitely more which we have discussed before. So this is something that can happen. So certain myths that are there related to anxiety. So first is anxiety will go away on its own. In certain cases, like if it's mild anxiety, it might go away. But if it is too much and it is recurring, then it might keep coming up again and again. Next is avoidance is a great way to deal with anxiety. No, it just reinforces the anxiety. So avoiding things doesn't make the anxiety go away. It gives temporary relief in that moment, but in the long term, it is not useful. Then anxiety is uncommon. So everyone has moments where they become anxious. So it is not as uncommon as you think. Panic attacks may cause one to faint. So this is not true all the time. In certain cases, like if it's very extreme, it can happen, but it doesn't happen all the time. Okay. Social anxiety and being shy are one and the same thing. No, that is not true. Social anxiety is an extreme form of shyness. Now, every person can have moments of shyness, but social anxiety is more persistent and it is more extreme in nature. So, medication is the best way to manage anxiety. Okay, so now this actually depends. So, what at times, if the anxiety is way too much, we can use medication to help relieve the symptoms. But at times, like to work on the root cause, there are like other things you have to do along with just taking the medication. And at times, like if it is mild to moderate, in certain cases, you don't require medication. So, okay, antidote to anxiety. So, this is like the first step which you can use to manage anxiety. So, this is the 5-4-3-2-1 technique. I'll just explain. Okay, what kind of medication can be used? Okay, so there are anti anxiety medications. So, there can be SSRIs, beta blockers, at times benzodiazepines, but that's in extreme cases. But for that, you need to like consult with a psychiatrist to actually see what suits you the best, and that's where you will get the best advice for medication. So that is something which can happen. So I'll like quickly explain the technique. So in 5 4 3 2 1, first identify 5 things you can see. Then after that, you identify 4 things that you can touch. Then you identify 3 things that you can hear. Then you identify 2 things that you can smell, and 1 thing which you can taste. So this is the 5 4 3 2 1 grounding technique. So this is like the one of the solutions to manage anxiety. So this is something you guys can try out. So that is one of the ways which we can manage anxiety. So next, okay, I can see a question. Ma'am, if I see someone outside of college, I get really anxious, but it does not happen inside the college, and I don't feel really anxious at all. I don't really understand why this happens and what kind of anxiety it is. So usually, like in that case, maybe like look at what are the thoughts that are coming in your mind during this situation when it is like happening, and how are you interpreting this situation. So that is like important, and then we can work on challenging some of the negative thoughts that come up. That is something you can do. So moving on. So anxiety, how anxiety helps primitive humans to survive. Okay, anxiety helps primitive humans to be vigilant and survive. Definitely, if we all didn't have anxiety, so that would have been difficult if we were in the wild and trying to survive. For example, listening to a lion roar, anxiety gets triggered, and then we run away to a safe place and anxiety relief. So, in the past, we actually dealt with things that could actually cost us our life, like if you find a lion roaring or anything like that. In that time, your anxiety would be triggered and you would want to run away to a safe place, and then your anxiety would be relieved again. So, it served a function. So, this is something that actually helped our ancestors to survive. Next, we have how anxiety helped primitive humans. The two terms that help us understand how anxiety helped our primitive humans and how it is functioning in the modern world. We'll study these two concepts. So, we have immediate return environment and delayed return environment, and I'll explain both of these in detail. So, immediate return environment, what does that mean? So, in a situation where the actions of human bring an immediate effect, it's called immediate return environment. So, this can be explained with an example. So, now let's say you're hunting when hungry and you find shelter, or if you find shelter when you need it. If you immediately find something in your environment, like if you have a stimulus that is activating and then suddenly you feel hungry or you feel like you want a shelter, so that is something that can cause an issue. But immediately here what we see is immediate return to environment. We find that immediately we find something because of which the anxiety can be relieved. So next is delayed return environment. So delayed return environment is a situation where actions of human do not result in immediate result. So at times we do not have. So in delayed return environment, the results are a little delayed, like food processing, saving money for future. So actually, if you have to do something which is more future oriented, you won't get it immediately. This is the opposite of return environment. So that is something which is important. Is anxiety also helpful in today's world? In certain situations, what happens is, like, anxiety did serve a purpose in the past, but in today's we are not dealing with life threatening situations as much, but our brains are still wired in a way where it actually perceives like it is like an actual threat and things like that. That's why our anxiety becomes like too much at times, because we are still, our brains have not yet developed to accommodate for what is going on now. So anxiety might be a little bit helpful. Like, for example, I can share an example. Like, if you are going to give your exam or something, if you are a little anxious, that might help you study and get prepared for the exam. But if it is like too much, it can like actually cause functional impairment, and you wouldn't even have the desire to study. So a little bit of anxiety might be helpful, but if it's too much in today's world problems, you don't require too much anxiety. Okay, please explain immediate return again. So immediate return is just the opposite. So if the anxiety is there, you're feeling hungry, you want to fulfill that desire, it gets met immediately. So it is the opposite of delayed return environment. So if you're looking for shelter, you're anxious that you're not able to find, and then you find it immediately. So that is immediate return anxiety. Then we have the delayed. So this will make it more clear. So this is an example of immediate one. I'm hungry, I eat food. So this is immediate return environment. Next is, I'm studying today to give my exam, which is a week later. This is an example of delayed return environment. Okay, so at times with delayed environment and stress. So delayed return environment induces chronic stress and anxiety in humans because our brains were wired to work for immediate return environments. That was in the past, like how our brains were developed. But when we have something, there's a delayed return environment. You have like a week or two for your exams. At times you might get too stressed or things like that. That is what actually happens and might cause stress a lot in immediate work. Okay, someone is asking what is the difference between stress and anxiety. Okay, so for stress, what happens is you need to have a stressor present. So, like, let's say you have a deadline and you have to finish your project. So, in that moment, you are like just trying to get things done, and you might be getting a little bit stress. Now, in anxiety, the stressor doesn't actually like have to be present. And in anxiety, we think a lot about the things which could go wrong in the future or something. Like, if a person has social anxiety and they go to a party or something, maybe there's not like a youth stressor or something, but the person perceives it that way, and they, in anxiety, you think a lot about the worst case scenario, what can go wrong. And stress is something which can happen when a stressor is present. Okay, so how do you know if you have CPTSD, anxiety, depression, or BPT, or a mix of these? Even if you take psychological tests, so many things overlap in there. Does therapy approach or plan change based on exactly what you have from what you have from these, or is it pretty much the same? Okay, so if you actually want to know, the best way is to actually seek professional help to get actual diagnosis of what it is. So that is something that is going to be most helpful. Like, the psychological tests and all online can give you idea, but to get a proper formal diagnosis, you have to approach a professional for the same only. Then only you can actually say that you have a certain kind of diagnosis, and a professional will actually tell you. So that is something which can come up. Moving on. So how to balance? The key is to keep doing things that contribute to both immediate and delayed return environment. This is something which you will see, like maybe for example, if you have a project or deadline, maybe after a week you have to submit a project, maybe you can like break your things into small tasks. So you can set a deadline, today I'll finish 20% of the work, so that way you're filling the immediate returns environment about this. So then this can definitely help you. Okay, now we have another tip to manage the anxiety. So we have different breathing exercises which you can use to manage anxiety. So one exercise is known as box breathing. So what you do is you actually like breathe, inhale for 4 seconds, hold your breath for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds, and hold your breath for 4 seconds again. And then you keep repeating that. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold your breath for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds, and hold your breath for 4 seconds. So this is something we can focus. This is one way of managing anxiety. Another, we have the paced breathing. So paced breathing is you take shorter inhales and longer exhales. So you inhale for 4 seconds and then you exhale for 6 seconds. So that is another breathing technique you can use. Then you also have belly breathing. So basically, like you focus on expanding your belly more while breathing instead of like just breathing through the chest. So that is something that can help. So now we will move on to various factors that have been causing anxiety. So now we have irrational beliefs. At times when we are having beliefs about a future event or anything like that, those can be a little bit irrational in nature, because like we think that the worst case scenario is just going to come true and we are constantly thinking or ruminating about that. So that is something that can come up over here. We just think about the irrational beliefs, we are thinking about worst case scenarios or negative thoughts that are like just coming up again and again. Then we have social context. Maybe there were people around us who can actually like cause us to feel anxious because they pass down, like let's say a parent is very anxious, they can at times like pass it on to the child because they teach the child to be fearful of everything. So that is something that can happen. Next we have trauma. Trauma is also something which is very much linked to anxiety. In most cases, like extreme anxiety, if you have been through an event that is traumatic and your brain couldn't fully process what happened during that time, that can cause anxiety. Then you have phobias. So you can have phobias of certain things. There are like specific phobias people have of certain things, like fear of heights, flying, and various other things. So these are the factors that can cause anxiety. And then we have a case study. So like just answer the questions that are there. Is it possible to reduce our anxiety if we share what we are feeling or what we are worried at the current moment? Yes, to certain extent, yes, anxiety helps, because the thing is like once we learn to label our emotions and like just sit with it and accept it, usually that can help soothe the anxiety a bit. So that is something we can do. So identifying it is possible, and especially if we share it with our loved ones and get support, it can help a bit to manage anxiety. So next is, how do you balance both environment? Please explain by example. Okay, so How you manage both is like, just as I explained with the example, just like if you have a project coming up, like let's say after a week you have to submit a project, so that is a delayed return environment situation because it's after a week. So here what you can do is, like, our brains are wired for immediate return environment, so you can break down the task. So today I am going to do 20% of it. You can make notes on what are the things you actually can do, and these are the things that will actually help you manage your anxiety a little bit better. So each day you decide, this is the amount of work I am going to do, so that fills in the immediate environment need. Okay. So no, you're not allowed to take screenshots as this is a copyright of Mindtribe. Next, can talking to yourself reduce anxiety? It also depends on how you talk to yourself. If you actually talk to yourself in a positive way, like just remind yourself that you're safe, nothing bad is going to happen, that can relieve anxiety. So positive self-talk can help. If it's like just negative, if you're just thinking about what are the things that are going to go wrong, or if you're self-blaming, then it doesn't help. Okay, is there any free app or site available for psycho, because therapy is to cost? VT, we do provide free therapy. You can like visit our website. Like in the end, I will be sharing the details. We do offer one free session over here at Mindtribe. Journaling might help. Absolutely, journaling does help with anxiety, and I'll explain that in the upcoming slides as well. So we have a case study over here. Okay, so this is Malaika. She is a 20-year-old student and she has recently been rejected in an interview. She thinks that she's a failure and not good enough to get a job at all. Okay, so here, what do you think is contributing to her anxiety? If anyone would like to share in the chat or speak about it, what do you guys think? Yes, Saloni.
Ma'am, her constant thinking of her rejection in the interview.
Absolutely, that is right. Her constant thinking about the rejection and things like that. And here we can see how the irrational beliefs are kind of causing the anxiety. And she thinks she's a failure and she's not good enough and she's going to get rejected. So there are negative views about herself and the future of how things are going to go wrong. Yes, absolutely. Low self confidence and self esteem are also contributing. So now we move on to the fight, flight, and freeze responses and anxiety. So this is like the basic structure of like how anxiety works. So when we are in fight response, we are trying to fight back the situation. We are trying to face the situation that is coming in front of us. Maybe there can be anger, there can be rage, and we are trying to attack what is in front of us. Then we are like anxious. So an example of fight response could be like, let's say you see an insect and you'll try to kill it. So since you're scared, your fight response kicks in and you kill an insect. So that is the fight response. Flight response is like avoiding, running away, like feeling anxious and like moving away from the situation. In fight response, you saw how we move towards the situation. In flight, we move away from the situation. And next is the freeze response. So in freeze response, what happens is this response kicks in when we cannot fight or we cannot run away from the situation. So we just freeze in that moment. So we just feel stuck, we are detached, our nervous system shuts down, and then we actually go numb and things like that. So this is actually something that can happen. These are like the basic ones which come up for anxiety. So if you guys would like to share, If you have experienced any of these, maybe in the chat, which are the response that you commonly experience? Is it fight, flight, or freeze? If you want to raise your hand or mention in the chat, which one is the most common for you? Yes, go ahead, Saloni.
Ma'am, for me, mostly I freeze in a situation where I feel really anxious. I do not know what to do, and I just keep constantly thinking about it.
Yeah, I can understand that. That does happen. Thanks for sharing. Okay, we have responses: hide, flight, run and hide, avoid the situation, freeze. So, can you go back to 29 or 30 slides? Uh, Wait a minute, actually, we don't have a lot of time. In the end, when I do the questions, I can get back to you. So, freeze and then flight mode. This is also common. This can happen all together. Yes, this can happen. Sometimes flight and freeze. Yes, this does happen. Yes, sweetie. Okay. So, moving further. So, we are trying to flight and fright. Okay. So, thank you for sharing, everyone. So, now we'll understand the fight, flight, and freeze responses. So, the fight, flight, freeze response is your body's natural reaction to danger. The response initially causes hormonal and physiological changes. So there are certain neurotransmitters that are released. It can be adrenaline, cortisol, and things like that. These changes allow you to act quickly so you can protect yourself. So your sympathetic branch of nervous system gets activated, and there are certain like changes in the body, like your heart beating and things like that, or if there's sweating and things. So there are physiological changes too. Now it can be triggered by both real and imaginary threats. So that is something which is important. Like at times threats can be imaginary as well. You are actually like worried about something happening where the probability might be very less or something. So, for example, let's say if you are flying in the plane and each time you go to fly a plane, you might be thinking the plane is going to crash or something, even though the probability is less. So, it can be both real and imaginary threats. Okay, so we will understand this more. A stranger barged into your house and trying to harm your family members. You start throwing whatever you see around you and you try to find the pepper spray and chili spray powder to attack him. Okay, what response is this? Is it fight, flight, or freeze response? You can put it in the chat or unmute. Okay, I can see a lot of fight, fight, fight. Absolutely, you guys are right. This is the fight response. Next is you see a person coming to attack you with a weapon and you run as fast as you can. Which response is this? Flight, 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 flight. All right. All of you guys are correct. This is the flight response. Next is the airplane in which you are traveling is likely to crash. You cannot think and go absolutely numb. Which response is this? Absolutely. All of you are correct in the chat. You all are saying the freeze response, and that's absolutely right. So, you guys have understood this concept very well. Okay. So, this is the next thing we can learn to manage anxiety. So, first is yes, Ritu. Yes, Ritu. Your hand is raised. Okay, okay. So, okay. Antidote to anxiety. First is you have to accept the feelings and rate them on a scale of 1 to 10. It's okay, Ritu. So, first is like just identify if you're feeling anxious, just sit with it and accept it and try and rate it. Like, how high is it? Is it like 8 on 10? or 6 on 10. You just rate your anxiety and watch the anxiety. See how it is showing up, maybe in your body, or what are the thoughts you're having. Like, just notice it and watch how the anxiety is presenting itself. Next is act normal. Now, in this, act normal doesn't mean like you push away your anxiety or anything. What it means is like you have to remind yourself that it is okay, this is just anxiety, I'm safe in this situation, nothing is going to harm me in this moment. You have to like just keep reminding yourself that. So that is what you need to do. Then repeat this step, and then you are supposed to expect the best. Like, instead of thinking of the worst case scenario, like, don't go or feed into that negative thoughts. So like, just sit with it, accept it, maybe feel what is coming up in your body, and just realize that your feeling will soon fade away. This is just temporary. You are totally safe in this situation, and then you repeat that. So this is something, this actually like can also help with panic attacks in some cases. Like, what you can do is like just sit with it and remind yourself that this is just temporary. It is soon going to go away, and just try and sit with it. So that actually can help in this situation. Okay, if I hear news related to death and attacks, I get dreams related to them, but then after few days it stops. How to deal with it? Okay, if you hear news of deaths and attacks, and if you are getting dreams, usually dreams comes when there are things in our subconscious mind and we are trying to ignore that. So what you can do is, whenever you hear any form of news, maybe try journaling before you go to bed or anything like that, so that you can get all your negative thoughts out on a paper or something. So that will reduce the chances of the dreams coming up. Maybe just try journaling your negative thoughts before you go to bed, and like just identify what is coming up in the meaning. So that is something which can come up. So what was E in the antidote? So E is like expect the best. So instead of feeding into the negative thoughts that come up, like things are going to bad or things, we have to realize that that might not be true. Things might go well, or things might just be neutral. It's not necessary things are going to go back to, and things are going to turn out the worst or anything like that. So that is something. Okay, then I'm unable to go for interviews. How do I overcome that? Okay, so what you are dealing with over here is a typical symptom in anxiety, which is known as avoidance. So what you do is, since you actually are feeling anxious, you try and avoid the situation, and that actually increases your anxiety even more, and then it makes you feel more nervous. What you can do is like maybe start exposing yourself, and maybe like doing things that you're not comfortable. But one thing you can do is like just before going, maybe practice some breathing exercises so that you feel a little more calm, and then maybe like gradually start exposing yourself to going for interviews. So that is something you can try. And after you do go through the interview, just focus on what are the things that went right during that time. So gradual exposure in this case might help you. And before doing that, you can do some relaxation exercises and then go and attend the interview. So that might help. And I'm going to teach the vicious cycle of anxiety, and I'll explain more on how avoidance help can cause anxiety over here. So anxiety involves worrying about some potential threat. Sometimes it causes people to avoid the very situation that can cause anxiety, thus never allowing them to negate the experience. So this is something happens when we are anxious. It is naturally we want to avoid that situation, and temporarily it gives relief, but in the long term it doesn't help us. So I'll explain this better through an example. So if you're feeling socially anxious and you avoid meeting people, what is going to happen? you will experience temporary relief. Then what it can provide is temporary relief, but in the long term, you will find that you feel more anxious, unhappy about the lack of socializing, your social needs are not getting met. Then what happens? Low confidence about being able to meet people. Since you don't expose yourself, this further increases your anxiety, and then you further start having more negative views about yourself. So this can start coming up, and this again contributes to the social anxiety. So social anxiety increases. So that's why doing a little bit of exposure work might help. And if you want, you can start small. So for example, if you have social anxiety, maybe meet a small group of people first. Just see, and then you can see like things are not as bad as what you were imagining initially. So that is important. That is something that can happen. So, does any of you have any experience with this thing where you actually try to avoid anxiety and it increases, or has there been anyone of you who have tried to do exposure work or do things that make you feel anxious? If you want, you can share it in the chat. Yes, go ahead, Viti.
Yes, whenever the exam come, I just isolate myself from my friends. I didn't pick up their calls and I don't talk with friends much and I just focusing on study and I avoid the social gathering, especially during the exam. I even don't discuss with the other people how's their paper was going, how much question they attempting. I just isolated myself during the exams.
Yeah, that was a good example. This can happen when we are anxious. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else? Okay, I can see in the chat. Avoid focusing on jobs because of work culture. Yeah, that can happen as well. Um, Thank you for sharing, guys. So, okay, this is another tool to deal with anxiety. So, you can go to counseling and you can meet an expert who understands what the real concern is that is causing the anxiety. They can provide you with a safe space and they can provide you with a very empathetic and non-judgmental environment. One of the things that counseling can provide us, like when you talk one on one with the counselor, they can help you identify the root causes better, where the anxiety is coming from, how maybe your childhood was related to anxiety showing up right now, what are the causes, and they can use a tailored approach. They can use an individual approach that best suits you when you go and visit a psychologist. So that can actually help you in this case, where you go for counseling and then you can seek one-on-one therapy, and that can actually help you manage your anxiety better, because they can deal with things that you have specific problems that are related to anxiety. Next is journaling. Journaling is very good, especially for overthinking and things like that, which can be a part of anxiety. When you actually try journaling, it actually like lets your thoughts come out on paper, and that can be really helpful. And then it can bring in a bit of relief from the overthinking, and it helps you process some of your emotions. And it's not for anxiety, but for like other issues as well, even for depression or anything, like writing your thoughts down does help in that case to process any kind of emotions. So that is it. Has any one of you tried journaling? You can give a thumbs up or put it in the chat. Okay, I can see some thumbs up already. Okay, does free writing journaling help to deal with anxiety? This is something new I tried and sometimes I feel much better. Yes, free writing helps a lot with the anxiety. Actually, like, helps put our thoughts down on paper, and that can actually be really helpful in managing anxiety. So whatever comes to your mind, just keep writing it down on paper. So that can definitely help. Okay, so now we are moving. So time to reflect. Now, this is a question for you guys. Imagine a situation in your life when you felt anxious. Now, after you have attended the workshop, what will you do differently to deal with it? Would anyone like to answer this question? What would you like to do after you get anxious? What are the things you can try?
The breathing exercises.
All right, yeah, that is good. The breathing exercises can definitely help. Box breathing, 5 points. Very good. Yes, Saloni?
I tell myself that it's okay and I'm not in any harm.
Yeah, absolutely. That is very good. That definitely helps a lot when we remind ourselves that we are not in any harm. Journaling, very good. Talking to myself, yes, that is also a very good point. Try short breathing, inhale for short amount of time and exhale for long period. That's nice. You remember the paced breathing technique. Living in the present. Okay, journaling increases anxiety because of law of attraction says that what you focus on or write you will become. So I feel scared to put things on paper. How do I navigate this fear and express myself without worrying that I am attracting it into my reality? So if journaling is increasing your anxiety, maybe like try some other relaxation technique. Maybe start, don't try journaling, maybe try the breathing exercises first, or if you get anxious while writing down, maybe do the self talk instead, how you are safe in that situation, like someone was just mentioning about, maybe try that instead. Yes, did someone raise their hand? Okay, so next, okay, so that brings us to the end. So we focus on providing affordable counseling services. Our counseling services are designed to be accessible to all individuals seeking support. So you can go visit our website, that's www.mindtribe.in, where you will have counselors who provide like one free session. And then we have free group therapy, which offers a 12-week program of free group therapy sessions, which is conducted once a week as a part of our commitment to promoting mental well-being. So we have group therapy every week. So then we have our mental health resources in our library. You can check out the website for that. And for inquiries or assistance, you can email hello@mindtribe.com. So that is something you can do. And if you want any sessions from me or any other psychologist, you can go and visit www.mindtribes.in, and there you will find all the resources. So that brings us to the end, and that we can do. Okay, so for the certificate, can you like please drop me your DM? My number would be in the group, so I can explain you about it. Yes, these would be in our YouTube channel. Okay, what is free group therapy? Okay, so free group therapy is like, what we do is like from Monday to Friday, from 8 to 9, we have group therapies on different topics. So one is on overcoming depression, one is on dealing with dysfunctional family. We have different topics, and it all goes on till 12 weeks. So that can help you a lot. Okay, I've already answered your question about the journaling. I've like said you can try different technique in that case. Okay, how do I tackle stage fear? I feel like during Viva or public speaking, I feel very anxious and at loss of words and unable to speak clearly. Yes, this can happen a lot. So one thing you can do is like just focus on like what is causing this fear. So like you can sit and maybe do, before you expose yourself, maybe try and doing some relaxation techniques. And another thing is um, what you can do is like maybe make yourself think that what are things that you can do, focus on what are your strengths and all of that. Don't like think about what can go wrong in that situation, just keep reminding what are the things that can go right in this situation. So that is something you can do for stage fear. Like do some, you can do some box breathing or anything before the, before you actually go to face the fear. Okay, the question isn't about journaling, it's about law of attraction. Okay, see, I can't like address a lot about the law of attraction right now because that isn't something that is covered in psychology. So I can like just give you some techniques how to attend the free group session. Okay, you will be getting emails. We do send out emails regularly about group sessions, and then you can do that. Or if you want to like join, you can message hello@mindtribe and then they can help you out with it. Okay. So is there any person who has hand raised? Okay, no. I feel anxious about personal issue and I'm afraid about other personal issue and I'm afraid the same thing happened to me. Can you suggest me how to overcome? Over here you can like just use some of the relaxation techniques again that we have discussed, and that was going to like help. All right, any of you want to hand raise and ask me any question? Or any other questions that you guys have? Okay, can you repeat the relaxation techniques? So I've given a lot of relaxation techniques over here. I'll just repeat a few. So one is the 5 4 3 2 1 technique. So you identify 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, then 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. That's the 5 4 3 2 1. That's one grounding technique. Then you can use box breathing. You inhale at the count of 4, hold at the count of 4, exhale at the count of 4, and then hold at the count of 4 again, and then you repeat. That's box breathing. Then we have the paced breathing where you inhale for a shorter time but exhale for a longer time. So inhale at the count of 4 and exhale at the count of 6. So these are few that I had mentioned. You can do that. Apart from that, next is just sitting with the anxiety, accepting it, then realizing that you're safe, nothing bad is going to happen in this situation. All right. Thank you so much, guys, for all the shares. This brings us to the end. Okay, if we have very less time for an entrance exam and we are taking a lot of time to complete one chapter, how to increase our speed and study calmly? Firstly, like if you are taking a lot of time to complete one chapter, what you can do is like firstly, like no, don't start beating yourself up or having negative thoughts during that moment, like I can't complete the chapter, I won't be able to complete. That increases the anxiety and then you take even longer time to complete it. So first is like, don't be too hard on yourself while you're doing it. Like just focus on what is in your control during that time. Like take some time to complete it, and during that time, like if you're having a lot of negative thoughts that are coming up, maybe try and manage that during the situation, because that's what actually causes the anxiety. So that is it. So thank you everyone. We'll end here and you guys can leave. Thank you guys. PPTs we cannot send, unfortunately, because that is intellectual property of Mindtribe, so we are not allowed to share the PPTs. Yes, the recording would be on YouTube channel, so you guys can go back and watch it. Okay, thank you guys.